Ann Lewis from Seattle a few times throughout the years, and because she's somebody I really admire and respect. And she is, they are celebrating in October her 30th year in ministry. Right, that's what I say. I'm like, whoa. So she wrote this version of the Lord's Prayer, and her team has sent it out asking people to video either the ministers groups or whatever, and then they're going to do one of those like compilation, mash all the videos together things, because she has those people. By the way, if any of you were that person, like I really want that person. So I am going to attempt, hopefully, if you got, oh, there we go. So if you guys want to play with me today, I thought we could read it together, and I will attempt to make some sort of video out of it on my phone. How's that? All right, so we're going to read it kind of slow because we probably should. Father, Mother, God within, holy is your name. Your kingdom is here now. Your will is done within me. Give me this day everything I need. Forgive my lack of confidence to command the law. Don't let me be tempted by appearances. Don't let me believe in evil, for you are the realm of power and glory within me forever. Amen. Cool. Now if I can figure out how to send it to him, we'll be all good. I'm not really that much of a dork, but lately. 3 times with me. There is only one life. This life is God's life. This life is perfect. This life is my life now. There is only one life. This life is God's life. This life is perfect. This life is my life now. There is only one life. This life is God's life. This life is perfect. This life is my life now. So it's been such a week. Let's see, Jenny and I got married. So thank you, Reverend Scott, for stepping in and yeah, thank you. He always brings his whole heart here to the stage, and I appreciate that more than I can say. So it's been kind of an endorphin mushy mush rush. That's how I'm referring to it. And then the week kept going on, and we're having that. You know, sometimes you find yourself sort of bouncing between 2 places, and this was kind of one of those sorts of weeks for me. As the week went on, I found myself getting really impacted by the whole thing and the things that have been going on for the last couple of years. And I want to be really clear, this is not about politics or who is president. This is about us and who we are as people. And I know that I live in a little bit of a really glorious bubble. I'm going to call it that. You know, I live in northern Colorado, which is a place that's filled with amazing people who are mostly kind and caring and trying to do the right things. And I spend all of my time with people like you. So I have been really blindsided this last 2 years by the racism and the homophobia and the marching in the streets for white power and the hatred that has shown up on the street. And then this week, this mild-mannered woman who's been trying to live her life and who frankly could have been one of probably 60 or 70% of the women I know, maybe more, tells the truth about being assaulted. And the politics of it aside, the response to that is that she has been receiving death threats and had to move her family out of their home. And I'm like, that is not, we are not that. We're not those, we just can't be that. And then you add to that this continued thing of unarmed black men just being murdered. And this week it just made my heart hurt too much. You know, I think the whole wedding thing, like really, like it just opened you up, and then it just hurt too much. Friday I had to have what I'm now calling my Heidi Day, which is the Heidi out on the couch and pretend that I'm not going to have to show up and lead us out of this on Sunday. Because I really wanted to avoid it. I wanted to hand you I've said this before, you know, I always want to come in and hand you a nice cheery talk full of sunshine and rainbows and roses and unicorns, and I don't want to think at all about how ticked off I kept getting. And it was funny because I found myself, it wasn't so much what happened to her, because that's happened to so many of us, but because of the question, why didn't she tell anyone? That just kept torquing me off in unbelievable ways. And I kept really worrying about the impact that this was having on so many of the women I know, because it's up for everybody. And it's funny how you I know that most of us have done our work, and we've done our therapy, and we've done our thing, and we've done whatever work. And I kept hearing that voice in my head say, okay, this is up because it's up for healing, and if I avoid it, then I'm just sweeping it back under the rug like everybody else wants to. So it's got to be up for healing, and how can we make real and lasting change and healing in who we are as human beings and how we are together, all of us. So the things that came to me, the only way I know to contribute to this healing is to make space for healing. So that was one, to tell the truth and not shy away from it. And to tell the truth of not only our stories and the people who have been impacted, but to tell the truth that there is something a bit larger than us going on in all of this, and to keep the faith about that. And two, to listen and learn and continue to believe that we can be better. And to three, remember that Spirit is on the side of healing. Keep my heart open and my prayers affirming love and healing and peace, not in a way that is, spiritual whitewashing, not in pretending that it didn't happen and it's all just la-la land, but in really the prayer of knowing that who we are as human beings are people, that we are actually people of love and compassion and peace, and that is what is called for, and we must meet it from there to change it. I kept thinking, well, first I read this quote. Marion Woodman, who is an old metaphysician, wrote, "Continuing to do pioneering sacred work in a world as crazy and painful as ours without constantly grounding yourself in a sacred practice would be like running into a forest fire dressed only in a paper tutu." And I thought, well, I would look really crappy in a paper tutu. So how do we continue to ground ourselves in sacred practice so that we can do this work? And then, of course, for me, that came up as what am I building my crap shield out of? You know, if there's crap out there and we're going to have a shield about it, and we're going to be in reality life, and we're going to live life, and we're going to be in and of the world in a way that it makes a difference and holds a presence for peace, then what am I building my crap shield out of? Am I building it out of anger and frustration, or am I building it out of this knowing of the truth of Spirit? And am I building it out of love? And am I building it out of a knowing that as we, all of us, not just me, all of us, people like us, take stands around these things that are of peace and of saying we must change, not hiding from that, but being a place of peaceful change, then what are we building our crap shield out of? And I choose love. I choose love. It brought to mind a story I read once about a farmer who was teaching his son how to drive, and they're driving and down the freeway, and it just starts torrential rain starts pouring down. It's raining, you know, the kind where your wipers are going 100 miles an hour, and it seems like there are no wipers because it's just sheeting, and it just keeps getting worse, and everyone's starting to pull over, and the kid is like, should I pull over? And his dad says, nope, just slow down, steady on, keep going. And so they do that, and it just keeps coming, and it's coming worse, and there's a little bit of hail mixed in, and the son's like, should I pull over? And he says, nope, take it easy, steady on, keep going. And pretty soon they get to, there's that line in the freeway where there's rain and no rain. You know how that happens sometimes? They get to that line in the freeway and all of a sudden they're free of the rain. And he gets up another mile and his dad says, pull over now. And he gets out of the car and he looks and he says, look back. And here's the storm. He says, remember this. The people who pulled over in their fear are still stuck in the rain. The people who pulled over in fear are still in the storm. And sometimes you just must steady on and keep going, and you will always come clear of it. You will always come clear of it. So number one, tell the truth. Yeah. My truth was that I was 14. And I was naive and clueless. And I didn't tell anyone. And this is the thing that I want to, it's not about that. And I want you to know that I'm not interested in telling this story at the door or because I've done my work around this. But man, that question, why didn't she tell? I didn't tell. I was more afraid of my dad than anything else. And it would have been my fault with him. And that's true for most of us. But I can tell you, there's a lot of nods in this room, I can tell you that there is a different story from every woman who has been impacted by this in their life. And if it's really only 1 in 3, which is what the statistics say, then that means of the 90 women in this room, 30 of us have had this experience at some level or another. And I would venture to say it's more. And it's not just women, let me say that too. I have had the experience of having men walk into my office and me be the first person they ever told. It happens to all of us. But if it's only 30%, that means there's 30 in this room. And most of us didn't tell, and every one of us has a different reason, and every one of those reasons is true and valid and real. It is true and valid and real. There are thousands of reasons that people didn't tell. Number 2, listen and learn and believe we can be better. I will say this, my door and my heart are open. Reverend Jenny's door and her heart are open. All of our practitioners, they are geared up and ready this morning. If you need to walk up here this morning and just tell, they are ready for you and they will just listen. You are safe here from judgment and condemnation and stupid questions. You know, why did you go for a walk is a stupid question. Because it implies something that's not true. And that's that somebody who took power over somebody else was not at fault. And they are. And they will be. And hopefully, someday, they're going to get held accountable. And what I really hope is that someday we get past all of this. Oh my God, why does this happen? Not why does it happen to, why does it happen from? Number 3, remember that Spirit is on the side of healing, so keep my heart open and my prayers affirming love and healing and peace. And that's the hard part sometimes. It is the hard part sometimes. You know, how? How do we, as Marian called for, how do we ground ourselves in sacred practice? So I went looking this week for something different, something new, something that would really support my crap shield, if nothing else. And I found this work, some of Greg Braden's work. He wrote, he's the author of a book called The Divine Matrix and the Spontaneous Healing of Belief and all kinds of other things. And he talks about this thing he calls the lost mode of prayer. The lost mode of prayer is a form of prayer that has no words, no outward expression, and is based simply in feeling. Specifically, this mode of prayer invites us to feel the appreciation and gratitude in our heart, as if our prayers have already been answered, even if the world appears to show us otherwise. It's kind of like spiritual mind treatment in a new form. But I learned from some interesting things from reading him this and listening to him this week, and that was that we have 40,000, we all have at least 40,000 cells in our hearts that are really just exactly like brain cells, only they live in our heart. They're called sensory neurites, and for short, they call them the little brain in the heart. And Greg says that after studying many types of prayer and shamanic ritual and Buddhist practice and all sorts of things, he came up with this very simple 3-step process for himself that align heart and mind and create a coherence within our own being. So I thought we could do this. We could harmonize this morning our hearts and our minds, and we can turn off our fear and amp up our love, and turn off our frustration and amp up our compassion, turn off our disbelief and amp up our belief. You want to do it? All right, so I'm going to ask, Jimmy's going to play a little background music to help us out. So the first thing we're going to do, and you can close your eyes if you want to at any point in this, but the first thing you're going to do is touch your heart. You can be gentle and do this in a way that's comfortable for you. You know, you might be a one finger, you might be your whole hand. In the Mayan and Middle Eastern traditions, you use your whole hand. Buddhists will create a prayer mudra and put it in the hollow of their chest. There's no wrong way to do this. The thing of it is, when we touch our heart, our awareness automatically shifts to the place where we feel touched. It automatically shifts. You leave your hand there. Allow yourself to focus on your own heart. And again, if you're comfortable, close your eyes. It's a safe place to be. Second, allow your breathing to slow and deepen. Breathing in this way signifies to your nervous system that you are in a safe place. Slow, deep breathing gives your body permission to heal. It gives your body permission to let go of stress. And then we create a feeling in our heart. I want you to feel one or more of these words as it resonates within you. Care for anyone or anything. Appreciation for anyone or anything. Gratitude for anyone or anything. Deep breaths. Compassion for anyone or anything. And now we'll say these words together as a mantra. Care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion. 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 Keep breathing. Care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion. 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 Gratitude, compassion, care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion, care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion. As you come back into this room, understand that something new often births from this place. That as you align your heart and your mind, healing and well-being and new ideas will come to you. And I would say to you this afternoon to give yourself some space for creativity. You may want to write or draw or play in some way that you did not expect this afternoon. For those of you that love the science of these things, we just created over 1,300 biochemical reactions in your body. You have decreased your stress. You probably can feel that. Added to your heart health. Apparently this creates an anti-aging response, which is, I'm signing up for that. And Greg Braden's group has done studies to show that this exercise actually increases your immune system response for about 6 hours. So none of you will give each other a cold today either. But it seems to me, so this I loved this because any of us could stop and do this at any time during the day. In your office, you could close the door and then go to your next meeting like this, with your heart and your mind aligned, or go to your next appointment, or go to your next anything. As we become more heart aligned, we become kinder and more peaceful. And I think that that is what we are called to do here, to stand in who we are as people of spirit, as people of God, as people of love, to stand in that place. This week I call on you, in this week of whatever happens next, to live in your heart first. If it starts to get to you, do this. Just touch your heart and remember this moment. And you can do that. Care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion at any time. Allow that deeper healing to be your own. You know, be brave and tell someone. Tell them why you couldn't tell. And be especially kind to those who are brave enough to tell, and those who are brave enough to tell and weren't believed the first time. Open a space where you never ask stupid questions. Don't be that one. Be the one who simply listens and says, how can I support your healing today? How can I support your healing today? Be kind to yourself. Love one another. That's really all it's about. Steady on. Keep moving. Be kind to yourself and love one another. Care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion. Who wants prayer?